Hello, and welcome to this information session on the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program located at Delgado Community College in New Orleans, Louisiana. This information session is designed to give you information on what the program is, how to apply for the program, what you can expect if you actually go through the program, and why you should do it. At this point, we are recruiting applicants for the summer session of 2019. That particular program will run from May 23rd through August 22nd with an orientation on May 21st. So we are very happy to give you this information so you can decide if this program is right for you. The Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses initiative started when Goldman Sachs Foundation put $500 million into its foundation in order to train 10,000 small business owners in order to help them grow and scale their businesses. That is the goal of this program. As a result, it is really not intended as a means for small business owners to start their businesses or to get them through the emerging stages. There are so many wonderful resources already in place for those, and so our office is happy to provide you that information. And in fact, to give you some idea of the minimum, we are looking for people who are currently earning at least $150,000 in gross revenues, who are employing the equivalent of around 4 full-time employees, and we'll get to that calculation in a little bit, and also that have been in business at least 2 years, and the person selected for the program needs to be the majority decision maker for the business on a daily basis, and in most cases, the major shareholder of the company. And so that will give you some idea going forward. So if you'll stay with me, I will love to give you some information on the application process, what the program looks like, so that you can see whether this is right for you. We are actually very fortunate here in New Orleans, Louisiana, to have one of these sites. We are one of 15 sites across the United States that is actually administering this program. There is one other, if you're not fortunate enough to live within a 2.5-hour driving distance of a site, then you are eligible for a program called the National Blended Cohort. And the whole purpose of it is to be able to allow people to travel to Massachusetts at the beginning and end of their experience and do the middle of it virtually. So for people who are not physically located within a 2.5-hour drive of one of the 15 centers, then that is an option. If you are within the 2.5-hour drive, we want you to come to Delgado Community College and be part of our experience. So let's look for a second at what is involved in the program. Well, first of all, let's look at our participants. They come from every walk of life you can imagine, every industry, every size, and even every geographic location. As I mentioned, we have people who travel in from 2.5 hours away. Lafayette, Louisiana, occasionally Lake Charles, Louisiana. We even have a scholar right now who is coming from Mobile, Alabama. And so it's wonderful that people come in on a weekly basis from all over our region to participate in this program. And in fact, we have 700 small business owners, many of whom you would recognize immediately, that have been through this program in the 7 years that we have been fortunate enough to have it here in New Orleans. In fact, we are one of the oldest sites in the entire system. We are the 3rd oldest. And in fact, it was opened by Warren Buffett. He and Michael Bloomberg were the visionaries behind this, and they are still actively involved in supporting the program. This is something that is very special to them and a dream of being able to affect the small business landscape in such an incredible way. So, as I mentioned earlier, our businesses that participate in our program have been in operation at least 2 years. That's a minimum. This is designed to grow and scale. And what we're looking for are small business owners who truly are committed to growing their business. We are going to give you the infrastructure to do that. And so you have to at least have a 2-year track record in order to know where you're coming from, in order to know where you're going. So that minimum 2 years is very important. And yes, we have had people with over 100 years, business owners in businesses that have been over 100 years old go through the program, which is just wonderful. This program is very well suited for a new generation of owners coming up that are succeeding their parents, for instance. And so we're able to work with you well in helping you to get an application through that reflects the parents' wishes for you if you are getting ready to take over ownership. We are able to work with you to help you get that through for the Boston reviewers to look at favorably. As I mentioned earlier, we do need the equivalent of 4 full-time employees, and that does include you. So, for instance, if you have 1 full-time staff person who is a W-9 that works with you, then that would be 2. And then if you have, let's say, 4 part-time people, then each of those would equal a half, and that altogether would equal 4. So we'll look at that in a bit more detail, but that is our minimum, is we're needing the equivalent of 4 full-time employees, and that can be regular 1099 people as well as part-time people and full-time people. So we will work on that in a few minutes. Also, as I said, representative of so many different communities, and with at least an annual revenue of $150K, that number can go much higher. We have many companies that are well into the millions. And so it's a case-by-case basis, and we are happy to talk to you about whether maybe your business is as of a size and a level to where this particular program will still be of benefit to you. So there is no real outer end on this. It is for small businesses, but we do have people well into the millions who are participating in the program. So what does the program involve? Well, if you look at the very bottom of this graphic, the ultimate outcome is to put you through this 13-week experience as a business owner and have you build a growth plan that will eventually create new jobs and extra revenue and tax base in our communities. And that is the goal. And in fact, we are going to even work with you to measure to see whether you are effective in accomplishing that goal in terms of whether our program is effective in delivering what you need in order to grow. And the way that we do this is by 3 key components, and that is giving you one of the most world-class educations in entrepreneurship that you will ever experience, combined with giving you a tremendous support system of people helping you along the way, and then even giving you access to lenders and investors and people and helping you to build a growth plan that you truly have the confidence and research behind to go out and pitch to various people. And so we do all of this. If you'll look at the education piece, we are so fortunate, thanks to Goldman Sachs' large contribution into this program, they were able to go to the top #1 ranked business school, small business entrepreneurship school in the United States, Babson College, and have them design some of the most cutting-edge curriculum in existence. And it is truly extraordinary. You know, there is a definition that pure genius is taking something complex and making it simple. Well, that is what this curriculum feels like, because no matter what your educational level, no matter how long you've been in business, no matter how much formal training you have in business, you will be able to sit there and gain the same amount of benefit and enrichment as somebody who maybe has twice that level that you have. It is very designed to be very practical, very relevant. You're able to take a day's workshop back into your office the next day, meet with your leadership team, teach them what you've learned, and put it into action. So it's very designed to be very usable and very user-friendly. In addition to that, you are going to have a business advisor who is actually going to work with you over the course of those 13 weeks in helping you to craft a growth plan And so that is a very beneficial piece. In addition to that, you'll be working with growth groups within the classroom. The classroom size, by the way, is around 30 people. So it is a very intimate experience. They'll typically be divided into 5 or 6 groups so that you have 4 or 5 people that you're going to be working with through those 13 weeks and helping each other to learn and support and give resources. And as I said, access to capital, bankers, as well as a community development financial institution that is very involved in the program. So we are going to definitely be able to help you package something that is very marketable. So, as I mentioned, we have many different support networks in place. You have your business advisor. You'll have all kinds of subject matter experts who will be coming into the classroom, not only as your faculty, which, by the way, are some of the most senior faculty of the entire system and actually teach in the national cohort, some of the top-ranked faculty in the entire system. In addition to that, you will have other subject matter experts, such as lawyers, social media experts, and all who are coming in to help at all different stages. You'll also, of course, have your peer learning from your whole cohort as well as your specific growth group. And you have an amazing active network for alumni afterwards. As I mentioned, in New Orleans, we have over 700 people who have already been through this program. So you will have a chance to network with some extraordinary people. And by the way, one of the coolest things and one of the best statistics that we keep on this program is how many of our alumni do business with each other. And if for no other reason, you will suddenly face almost 30 new prospects for your company because over 88% of our alumni do business with each other. So you are landing in some very good company, and it is really exciting to see the bonding and the relationships that build from this. So what does the curriculum actually look like? Well, here is an example, and I will be happy to share. Our entire office is happy to always send you the updated calendar, but as for now, orientation is the first full day. Our days run from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and typically on Thursdays. So Mod 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, most of those are going to be on Thursdays from 8 a.m. We start with a hot catered breakfast from 8 to 8:30. Classes from 8:30 to 5, another beautiful break at lunch to sit down together and have a hot catered lunch. You'll have 2 big 15-minute breaks in the middle of the morning, middle of the afternoon, and we adjourn between 5 and 5:30 depending on the module. So this will give you some idea of the overall scheduling. And so let's look at these modules. In the case of the first week, you actually come to class twice. So orientation is actually going to be on Tuesday, May the 21st. And you will begin Mod 1, which is you and your business, on Thursday, May 23rd. So most of the modules, growth and opportunity, money and metrics, you are the leader, all of those will follow on subsequent Thursdays. Those clinics that you see will actually take place typically on a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. There are 4 of them. One of those, if you see negotiations clinic, is one of the most extraordinary experiences. You will be taught negotiations from one of the top negotiators in the United States, who actually does much negotiation for professional sporting teams. And she is on faculty with the Wharton School of Business and is flown down by Goldman Sachs to come into your classroom and teach you negotiations. So rather amazing experience. Legal Clinic is actually going to match you up with an attorney who can help you specifically on some of the issues you're facing. You're going to have a lender clinic where you're going to learn how to present in your capital needs in a very, very compelling way. All of these are just remarkable. The one thing you will see is that every single session is on one whole unique function of your business. So it's really important for me to share with you right now that this is an absolute commitment. We do not sugarcoat. This is 110 hours in this classroom, and it's designed to be intensive. If you think about an executive MBA for entrepreneurship, that is pretty much what you are getting in 13 weeks. So this really requires you to have to step out of your business in terms of being able to give this your entire attention and complete commitment in order for it to produce the results that we have seen it produce. We have no doubt that it works, but it really comes down to each entrepreneur to see what you're capable of giving it. We do ask that you be present for every single meeting. And as you see why, if you were to miss, it's the people. Well, you will miss the entire hiring process and all of the information that you need in order to do that well. If you're looking at growing your business, then absolutely you have to look at what new talent you're going to be needing down the road. And missing that module would be critical. So as you see, every single one of these are just extraordinary. Operations and processes is one of the most life-changing experiences. Every day we hear business owners go, "Oh, I've heard about your program. I hear it's just fantastic, but I am so busy." And we have to laugh to ourselves because that is exactly the reason to be in the program. What this does is it allows you to begin to build the foundation so you can pull yourself out of the muck of running inside your business every day and begin to truly act like the entrepreneur that you are, building the strategic relationships, going after the new markets or the new products or services. Whatever it is that you want to do to grow your business, you have to be able to pull yourself out of the daily grind in order to accomplish that. And this 13 weeks allows you the opportunity to begin that process. And in fact, one of the things that happens is a transformation takes place, and it normally is around the operations and processes module, which, by the way, is going to give you a lot of tools to help you make that transition. But what happens there is entrepreneurs begin to see when they're in our class that their companies are not only surviving their absence on those Thursdays, they are in fact thriving because people are having to step up to the plate. They're having to assume new responsibility. They're having to make independent decisions. And what happens is many of our scholars upon graduation never go back into their class or their business again on Thursdays. That becomes their day to work on their business. And so this is a really critical step in helping you to redefine your role, which is critical in order to grow your business. So, as I mentioned before, one of the outcomes of this is you are going to have a very comprehensive growth plan. And you're going to start at the beginning exploring all kinds of different ways to grow your business. And then over the course, we will work with you to help you define one that you can carry all the way through to plan it from start to finish. You'll present it at the end of the program as your last and final piece of the program. And at that point, whether you choose to implement this growth plan or some other growth opportunity is totally up to you, but you will have had learned the process of building a growth plan so that you can go out and use that same process with any growth opportunity that comes your way. So I mentioned earlier that we actually follow the results of this program. One of the things that we teach you as a business owner is how to start running your business by metrics. We work with you to identify what are the absolute most important indicators that you need to be looking at, similar to a car dashboard. What are the things that you need to keep checking and running on your car dashboard to make sure you're performing in an optimal way? Well, we may help you design a dashboard for your business, looking at what are the key numbers and indicators that you want to work from. Well, we practice what we preach. And this particular program, we now have over 7,000 small business owners who have been through this program across the country. And one of the things that we do, and I think I mentioned earlier, This is totally free to you if you are accepted into this program. The Goldman Sachs Foundation is offering you this free of charge, but you do get 3 invoices at the end of it, and it's not for money, it's for numbers. When you are accepted into the program, you do what's called a baseline survey, where you provide your level of employment, how many people you have on staff, and you provide your revenues. And then when you graduate from the program, you provide those same numbers. And then you provide them 3 more times at 6 months, 18 months, and 30 months. Now, why do we do that? Because your numbers are combined with all of the other numbers of all of the other scholars all across the country to look at how much people who go through this program are growing as a cumulative. And so some of the numbers you're seeing here are part of those surveys. And that is only 18 months out, already over half of our scholars are adding jobs. Over 3/4 of them are increasing their revenue. And at 30 months out, those numbers go much higher. And in fact, they have actually done some research to see how much faster our scholars or graduates grow than just a normal business owner. And the numbers can be as high as 6 times the level of staffing as just a normal business owner going through the process without having this kind of an intervention. And I think the number here that is the most important is the 99%. And if you think about it, we are asking for a huge commitment, 110 hours in that classroom and probably 60 or more hours outside of the classroom. So with that kind of commitment, you would think, and without a dollar invested, you would think that somebody would get in 2 or 3 classes and go, not for me, I'm not going back. But no one does. 99% of the people who accept this gift and will start on May the 21st will finish on August the 22nd. And so I think that's a testament, no matter how much commitment and challenge it takes, says something about the value of what's received. So what can you expect from us, and what do we need from you? As I mentioned, you are fully scholarshiped if you are accepted into this program. You're going to have very practical curriculum. You've already seen a piece of that. You're going to have a class schedule that is very reliable, and everything in the program runs to the minute. You will be able to walk in, take a picture of the exact times of your morning breaks, your lunch break, your afternoon break, send it back to the office. They will know exactly when they'll be reaching you, and we keep to those schedules totally. You're going to get skills that you turn around and use the next day. And you're going to have this huge alumni network with 700 business owners alone right here in New Orleans, and access to capital. What do we expect from you? All 9 of those modules and orientation, we need you there for those. We need you there for the 4 clinics. You will have 3 meetings, most likely, with your business advisor outside of the classroom, and you're going to have probably 3 meetings with your growth group. So in addition to that, you'll be working on your growth plan. You'll have some homework outside of class. And so all of that will be taking place. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be monitoring and evaluating your performance in terms of getting your numbers and adding it to all of the other graduates so that we can attract the effectiveness of the program. So what's involved? You fill out an extremely simple, small first application. And that application, I will give you the website for it in a second. It's www.10ksbapply.com. I'll have it on the screen in a minute. And when you go to it, you're going to see how simple it is. And they do that on purpose. All of the applications are reviewed in Boston, Massachusetts, by one nonprofit organization, and they make the decision across the country of who will get into the program. So your staff at Delgado Community College that's involved in helping you, they're total advocates for you. They're going to do everything they can to make sure you've got all the right documentation presented in a way that will give you the most favorable review when all of that goes to Boston. And so what they've done is they've designed this little mini application that just takes a couple of minutes to complete. And they want you to submit that so that they can evaluate right off the top whether you are a good candidate for the program or not. If you are eligible to go forward, then you will get a notice from the Delgado campus saying, hey, congratulations, we're ready for you to begin part 2 of your application. If you're not eligible, you will get a notice from them, and they'll give you a whole list of resources of other business support programs that are available that may be a better fit. Let's say that you get the notice that you are eligible. Well, that will also come with a link for you to go back in and complete a more in-depth application. It will have 11 questions. And after that, you will be uploading financial statements. You'll be uploading the last couple of years of cash flow statement end of year, as well as the last couple of years of balance sheet end of year and year to date of both of those. You'll also upload your most recent completed tax return and a couple of other just identification verifying documents. So it is really important, and if you struggle with being able to furnish a balance sheet or cash flow statement, then we even have some resources that, for a modest fee, will work with you and helping you to get those together. Not only are they important in the interview process, but you're also going to be using them in the class to learn more about how to read them. So it's a very important part of the process. And yes, all of that information is kept confidential. It is collected from every single applicant all across the country, and all of that is reviewed in Boston by one set of reviewers. So if you then submit that second part 2 of the application, then you have a spot on interview day. An interview day for the summer 2019 cohort is going to take place on April 23rd, 2019. 50 people will each be selected to do a 30-minute interview. And if you go into your 30-minute interview, you'll have 3 people who will be asking you about your business and about what you want to accomplish if you go into the program, and making sure that you're ready for that commitment. So let's look real quickly at just how simple it is to actually make this happen. This is the cumulative report of one part 1 application. It's so simple. It's going to be asking you just for your contact information. And if you see about 1/3 down, it's going to ask you what percentage of the business you own. If you own 50% or more, we assume that you are the major shareholder. If you own less than 50%, we'll probably be following up with you to get a better picture of who is the owner, and if you are, in fact, the major decision maker, and how we might be able to get some supporting documentation from the major owner to that effect. So anyway, that is one thing that we'll be looking at. The number of full-time employees you see there. We want you to include yourself in the number of full-time. If you're working full-time in the business, then you include yourself in that number. And as I mentioned earlier, the number of part-time employees and the number of temporary contractor employees, all of those count as 0.5. So if there's 2 of you full-time working in the business, then that would be 2. And let's say there's 2 part-time and 2 contractors. Well, each of those would be 0.5. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. So that would actually be enough to qualify in terms of employee level. Then if you remember, we're looking for annual gross revenues of $150,000 or more. So we're going to be asking you, and the updated application will have 2017, 2018, and year-to-date 2019, more than likely what you'll be seeing. But you just simply put in your gross revenues there and just put them in rounded to the nearest dollar. And that can be even a rough estimate at this point. You'll be providing your financial statements in the second part. Then you simply say how you found out about the program and list any alumni or partners or whoever out there that may have told you. And then you describe your business. You can take a few lines right out of your website and copy paste them into number 2. And number 3 is, why do you want to be on the program? 2 or 3 sentences there, hit submit, and you are done. So that is all it takes to start the part 1 of the application process. And one of the things we're always happy to do is hook you up with any of our alumni who can give you their experience in the program. So by all means, reach out to us and let us know how we might be able to give you more information on this. As I mentioned, we are your advocate here. And so we want you to feel free to reach out to us in the Delgado office and let us help you to make a good decision. We are always going to give you the pros and cons. We have worked with hundreds of people in terms of helping them get through this application process, so we can really give you some good information. As you see, application deadlines for the summer cohort will be February 15, and you see there the contact number 671-6581, or email us, which we love, at 10ksb@dcc.edu. And by all means, write down that website right there, www.10ksbapply.com. There you will get more information, and you will see the little apply button that will allow you to start this process. And don't feel that you are totally obligated. Put in your Part 1 application, get deemed eligible, and then decide if you want to go further or not. Life is always full of changes. You never know what things are going to look like by the summer, but just start the process. There's no harm in being able to pull out at any point along the way, but all it takes is a really simple first step. So I hope this has been helpful, and we look forward to further questions along the way. And best wishes in growing your business. Bye-bye.